Hello, I'm Henry John Griffin, and today I am going to be talking about almost pretty much my favorite topics like furnaces and water heaters and computers. Now, these topics can be very dangerous, especially if they are asked as a setup question and I get in trouble for using those topics to ask a setup question. Now just remember, I explained to you about the several imaginary and both real computer names that I could come up, such as the Mitro Elo Pro computer, and the Retro Prevox computer, the Retro Prevox computer, and the Mito Milish computer. Those are the made-up computer names. Now, the real ones are like Windows and all that stuff. But at the time, there were no computers. So people used their minds instead to perform calculations. There was once that we took a trip to the computer factory to learn what the algorithm of these computers are. But we can understand the positives and negatives of computers now. Now, we all know it is bad. It is a bad thing to perseverate on the brain being a computer. And it is also a bad thing to fixate on the topic and get into trouble. Now, here is the truth. The truth is, I love the topic, and I always get to talk about the topic whenever it gets dark outside. Computers has been a great topic for me to talk about, but obviously it could become real repetitive and become worse at times. Now, if I'm not able to be respectful when someone says that they don't want to talk about the brain as a computer, then I do get into trouble. But just from getting into a lot of trouble, I try to remain calm so I don't have to even worry about being punished or getting into a lot of trouble. Because that's what happens, and that's where all of it goes. You know, if a kid gets whooped, if a kid gets whooped or spanked by their parents, a kid still may need someone to save their life. And who do we call if someone is hurt? That's right. We dial 911 if someone is hurt or if a serious emergency has occurred. That's what we do. We know that it's perfectly safe to dial 911 unless if you dial it only in emergency situations. Well, the truth is, only dial 911 in emergency situations. If there is an emergency or you're in real danger, that's when you should call 911. Only if you're in emergency situations. That's what it says. Call 911 only if you're in real danger. If you're in serious danger, you are allowed to call that number. But remember, calling 911 could get you in trouble too. And it can get you even more in trouble. So if I ever come across being in any real danger or risk, then I can press that number. But really though, I don't want to do it because it might be scary. But what about if the power in your house goes out? Like all of the lights turn off, or the electrical wiring from your house that goes to a utility pole is completely destroyed. What if the power lines that connect to your house from all the way around the block get knocked over? Well, if a power line from around the block in your city or street gets knocked over, then you should dial 911. Because it means you're in a real life emergency where you have to get help. You have to get your life saved. You have to have somebody that's going to be out there to protect you and save your life, and even protect you from being shocked by the high voltage power wires. Just remember, when you're in a situation right now, or your utility pole is basically landing on your house or the vehicle, you should stay in the vehicle until help arrives. Now that's how you can survive being electrocuted for not being careful. That's why you must be careful with the things that are electrical. Now, just as we compared it with that, we compared as to electricity, it's the same thing at home. Everything except for our power, everything except for the power poles outside and substations bring in electricity. Because most of these devices need energy to work. And that's a fact. We literally try to sustain the amount of energy that we're sending into our houses by the high voltage power lines, which it has enough energy to completely shock you if you're not careful around it. That is why police get involved very quickly. And when they are involved, then that's because you have to have somebody that's going to protect you from danger. You have to have somebody that's going to save your life from being shocked by electricity. You have to have all these people to keep you safe when you're out and about, so you don't get into a car crash or a car accident. This is why we have police officers, firemen, firefighters, and ambulances. Now, we have the chance to get down and even talk about what these people are, because they are a part of our community and they protect our